everybody. An earlier stream today, but with this, I had the stories, they were ready. And with this breaking Alec Baldwin news, I felt it was, best to have a stream while the news was hot, because it's indeed it is a very big deal. Very, very big deal. So thank you everybody for joining me at this earlier time. Gaga Stan, welcome. Ying Ying Say, I see that you've been watching for a while, but this is your first time as a member. Welcome. Welcome to the party. Billy, thanks for coming back. Hey Noah, thanks for joining. If you can't be a member, don't worry about it. I'm glad you can still be a part of the conversation, and you can always leave comments down below. Hey Ulp from Paris, that's right. This is pretty good timing for those of you that are overseas. Interstellar Green Bean said they really liked the Renfield event. I'm so glad. Yeah, on my Scream reaction, I'm hosting a Renfield studio event where you get to give feedback to the studio about the new movie Renfield, starring Nicholas Hoult and Nicolas Cage, and the link is on my Twitter account, and also in the down below on the Scream 6 trailer reaction. But yeah, you get to see footage from the movie behind the scenes, and you get a chance to win an Amazon gift card. And I'm glad everybody's having such a good time with it. That makes me very happy. Dancing Dog 60, again with the 5 memberships. That's just so kind of you. Dancing Dog 60 gifts 5 memberships pretty much every live stream. I found out that I'm going to be able to start gifting memberships sometime in the first quarter of this year, and so I'm going to be doing it as well, because I want to match your generosity. BTT community, you guys are the best. Hey RA, thanks for joining. Desnizra says about to go to sleep. It's still too late for Desnizra. I'm sorry about that. I know a guy. Thanks for joining. Ivan, that's very kind of you to donate 5 memberships. That's really very sweet. So we're going to go through the 3 stories of the day as usual. And then, of course, hey, Bagpipe Brian, welcome back. Of course, at the end of the stream, you can ask me anything you would like for the final 10 minutes of the stream. If you join during a live stream, I'll give you a shout out as soon as you join. But please, with your comments and your super chat comments, please try to keep them at the subject matter at hand, so that we can stay on topic. And then at the end, again, you can ask me anything you'd like for the final 10 minutes of the stream. And then I'll do shout outs as usual. Hey Jesse, thanks for joining. All right, so let's get to this Alec Baldwin situation. I think it's going to change Hollywood forever. All right, so story number 1, boop. Somber boop. Somber boop. I feel very bad for how, the cinematographer lost her life. It's really tragic. All right, so Alec Baldwin, and he's the actor on set who was holding the gun that went off and killed the DP. But he's also the producer on the project. And there is a real question as to whether or not they cheaped out, and that led to this problem. So there's that. And then Hannah Gutierrez Reed, who's actually the daughter of a very famous Hollywood armorer. An armorer is someone who handles prop guns on set and is responsible for the prop guns and the ammunition. They've both been charged. We'll talk about what they've been charged with in a moment. But I will say that the assistant director, the AD, who did say cold gun, who did announce cold gun, and handed the gun to Alec Baldwin, he took a plea deal, and he's getting a suspended sentence and 6 months probation. I suspect he's going to probably be a witness against these two, and that's one of the reasons they took that deal. They gave him that deal. Now, what have Alec Baldwin and Hannah Gutierrez Reed been charged with? They've been charged, both of them, with 2 counts of involuntary manslaughter, because the district attorney of New Mexico, who, by the way, is a Democrat, she, I think, really wants to get a conviction here. And I think that even though she is a Democrat, I think that having this happen in a state outside of New York or Los Angeles, which are very protective of the entertainment industry, and also I just think there's a general feeling in the country right now of lack of accountability. And so I think I'm going to go over how I feel about this, but I do feel these charges are warranted. And I'll be very curious. I'm going to put a poll up after I read you what the charges are, okay? So 2 counts, involuntary manslaughter. And this is under New Mexico law. The first one is just for negligence. This happened because of negligence. And according to New Mexico law, the punishment for that is up to 18 months in prison, not a white collar prison, like real prison. Not like, because like the college scandal. Remember at that college scandal, a couple of celebrities were lying and, misleading their children's applications and had to actually go to jail, but they went to white collar jail. This is not that situation. So up to 18 months in jail, $5,000 in fines. I could see, well, we'll talk about that in a moment. Then the other charge is negligence with a firearm enhancement. And so that would mean that if they went with that count, it's not only the same as the other one, but it has a mandatory 5-year add-on for the firearm. So that would mean 5 years in prison, for sure. Up to 18 months means that the judge has some discrepancy as to what they actually sentence, but mandatory means they must put the person away for 5 years. Max Beck sets an interesting precedent for talent in front of the camera to be held accountable. Unlike Depp, this was done on set and inadvertent. Well, I don't know if you need to bring Johnny Depp into this. Do you mean like when he punched somebody? And Trisha Munger says Alec Baldwin seems fishy to me. Well, I feel Alec Baldwin, he was awfully contentious, and he's been causing a lot of brouhaha for a while, and he finally effed around enough and found out. But it's very serious. But he didn't intend to murder, which is why it's involuntary. All right, so let me put the poll in, okay? Let me do this poll. So start a poll, okay. Should Alec Baldwin go to jail? No? Yes, but 6 months is enough. I would probably do the 6 months option if I were the judge. I'm not sure about the armorer. We'll talk about this in just a second, but I'm putting this poll together. Yes for 18 months. And then yes. One second. Yes for 5 years plus. 5 years plus up to 18 months. I don't know if that could be part of the 5 years. All right, there's the poll. You can vote in it as we discuss. Okay, so do I feel these charges are warranted? Yes, I do. Alec Baldwin, it was discussed at the time, was very careless when handling the gun. Hey, Stephen, was very careless when handling this gun. And it was said that you should never point even a prop gun at another person. Even when you're watching a movie, it is cheated for the camera, and it is actually you're not supposed to point the gun at anyone because you never know what could happen. Also, he's the producer of the movie. So it was his decision to cut back on the finances and not spend that money to save a buck, right? Although, of course, he then, had to go and he paid off this family of the DP. It's an undisclosed amount, but he did pay them off to get out of having any civil charges. Max Beck says, I brought up Depp because he was held accountable for actions performed offset with Heard. But that's only about him. This is in a setting, and that was a personal situation with his spouse. Here, this is a business industry situation. So that's what I feel Baldwin is culpable for those reasons. Again, poor, careless handling of the gun. And then also, he's a producer on the film, and he, decided to save money. And someone was killed. Now, on that note, Hannah Gutierrez-Reed might be the daughter of a very famous Hollywood armorer, but she has little to no experience herself, which is why she was hired, because she was so cheap. She's in charge of the gun. This has no studio involved with this, Trisha. This is an independent production, which I think, but we'll talk about studios in a moment. She's the one in charge of the gun. She's the one who loaded it. And she's the one who accidentally put a live round into it. Now, I think there's a real issue here about, hey, Drago, I think there's a real issue here about set safety, on-set safety, and it's been a problem for a very long time. People are bringing up Brandon Lee, who also was killed on set because he held the prop gun. It was not a real bullet, but he had held it so close to his temple that it still managed to kill him anyway. And, that was irresponsible. Mika just brought up Kristen Chenoweth, which we've been discussing. Kristen Chenoweth, there was no safety wire attached to the light. And people are saying any light that's hung over, cast and crew needs to have a safety wire attached to it. And so also you hear lots of stories about bad hours on set and crew being forced to drive home when they're too tired. So set safety needs to be taken seriously. And it has not, in the Twilight Zone movie, that's right, Millie Jo, it's been a long time. Letitia Wright got injured on set. Daniel Craig got injured on set. It happens a lot. Now, sometimes it's just an accident. And that's right. You talked about the Midnight Rider situation with Sarah Jones, Dan Blaster. That's very true. And how about also the stunt woman on Deadpool 2, where they wanted a female motorcycle driver and they hired someone who didn't have the proper experience and she was killed. So, everybody says it's like thoughts and prayers. Uma Thurman as well. I mean, look at the list. It's just so long. With people who get, and Marco just brought up somebody on the Harry Potter set and the Flash, right, as well. I mean, it's just incredible. So people are just getting so hurt and nothing ever happens. The studio says they feel really bad. And also the studio has benefited from what happened to Kristen Chenoweth. When Kristen Chenoweth got hurt like this, she got hurt so badly, fractured skull, broken teeth, broken nose, horrible nerve and muscle damage. And her own representation said, you can't sue or you'll never work again. And so that's kind of protected Hollywood. But I think that in this case, the government is stepping in. And I think this is important. I think this is very, very important. I think as a result of this, the big studios will not use prop guns anymore, guns that can fire. When this also happened, someone said, why isn't everybody using rubber guns? Some sets have transitioned to rubber guns that look real, but don't fire anything. And then you just put the gunfire in with VFX in post. And, considering what they do in post these days, and just they do so much, I think it would be not that expensive, certainly cheaper than a lawsuit and the loss of someone's life, to do it that way. If I were VFX studios, I'd be drawing up a package deal. Josh Loves Movies agrees. I would be drawing up a VFX, a gun package deal. And I would say, well, for a flat fee, we will put in all the firing for you. So you don't have to, all the bullet VFX, so you don't have to have any live guns on set. And I think also for smaller sets that maybe couldn't afford that, I think that actors for sure now, I think everyone needs to check the gun. I think, before you were taking, because you would think, oh, it's just going to trickle down and land on the armorer. But no, the armorer certainly should have been better. But the assistant director, the AD, also should have been checked it. And Alec Baldwin himself should have checked it and not have aimed it at anybody. I think for sure now, any talent, I think most talent would insist on the VFX situation if they were big enough. They'd say, there's no way I'm using a real gun at this point. However, if they said, we can't afford it and someone wasn't a big enough star to make that kind of demand, you better believe they're going to check their own gun. And I think they would want to go talk to the armorer and say, how do I check my gun? What's involved in that? No offense, but I'm going to go to jail too if this happens. Look what happened to Alec Baldwin. Blazing 10 says, hey Grace, did you hear the allegations that Percy Hines White is facing? I have not. Is that the guy from, is that the person who was from Rick and Morty? I have not heard about that. Bryce says, how is it considered a prop gun if it can kill someone? I'm not quite sure. I think what the thing is the difference is the ammunition. I think the difference is what's loaded into it. And that's what makes the difference. And I think a prop gun is something that's used on a set. But I think it's the ammunition. So Stephen D. Clark says definitely deserves jail times, but 6 months is enough. So that's the thing. I would go with 6 months for Alec Baldwin. I think sending Alec Baldwin to a real criminal prison for 6 months is certainly enough. I think that's going to really drive a point home. But with the armorer who actually loaded a real bullet into the gun, part of me feels like she should get the 5 years. But then why is it that Hannah Gutierrez-Reed has to go to jail for 5 years and Alec Baldwin, rich white guy, only has to go for 6 months? I think the optics on that are bad. The armorer will definitely never work again, Josh, for sure. And that's right, Masterword 648. This woman lost her life. Hero75 says, unless it's a movie like Act of Valor with actual Navy SEALs handling the guns, there is no reason for live guns on set. I agree. Trace, I'm glad as a lawyer you're enjoying the conversation. I hope we're getting most of it right. Hey, SMR Goose, thank you. You know, Trace, I'd be curious what your perspective is as an attorney. But I think that the armorer will definitely never work again. I think 3 months is too little. I think if I were the judge, I'd be like, I really want to spend a point home. I could even, if Alec Baldwin I felt was not repentant enough in the courtroom, I feel Alec Baldwin has handled this very poorly the whole way. I think he should have thrown himself at the mercy of public society. Hey, Gaga Stan, you know? Trace says this the charge criminal negligence against both of them. Yes, Trace, but it's 2 counts, and one has a firearm enhancement, which adds on a mandatory 5 years. Heather S. says force of blast is the primary killer in prop guns. The same force of blast in a prop gun is the same force of blast for a real gun. Thank you, Heather. Hedger Hodge, thank you, welcome. Danny, welcome back. Heather says, my brother died from a gunshot wound to the head. The doctors told my family that the blast is what killed him. I'm very sorry about your loss, Heather. I'm very sorry about that. But so I think that's how I feel about the situation. I feel that Alec Baldwin definitely is culpable and he needs to go to jail for 6 months to a year. And then as for the armorer, considering she's the one who put out a gun on set with a real live round in it, I'd be tempted to do the 5 years, to be honest with you. Maybe because Alec Baldwin wasn't getting 5 years, maybe I'd go for a full year for Alec Baldwin. I don't think I'd give him the full 18 months, but maybe I'd do a full year. He can get out early on good behavior, although with Alec Baldwin, let's see. And then, the armorer would go for the full time. That's a crazy name there. So her gender should get her special treatment? No, I don't think so at all. I didn't say that. I said I definitely think she should go for the full time. So let's see how the poll's doing here. Let's see here. Hold on. Let's end the poll. Well, I'll give you another moment to vote in it. Just another moment, and then we'll move on to the next story. But it's a really all these things were tragic. As some of you have written, nobody deserves to die making a movie. It's just horrible. Especially, accidents, of course, happen everywhere. But I think this is just horrible with this stuff. David says, remember too when there was the altercation at the Oscars with Will and Chris, he had all the confidence to speak up. Chickens are home to roost. Well, I don't know. What do you mean? Oh, Alec Baldwin. Yeah. Alec Baldwin, people get real, you gotta, I would hope that there was more personal awareness these days with, everything being said to a huge audience, to everybody on social media. But Alec Baldwin, didn't learn that lesson. All right, let me end the poll. It's tied, actually. I'm surprised how many of you don't think he deserves to go to jail at all. That really surprises me. I'm so curious to that. I'm going to put another poll in just a moment. I'm going to ask you why. So Alec Baldwin, yes, but 6 months is enough. Okay. Then tied with no, which is interesting to me. Then 24% think the full 18 months. And then 20% of you think he should go away for the full time, with the 5+ years. Let me see here. Lewis says, didn't Alec also try to restart production on Rust after the DP died? I don't recall that, but it might be true. I just don't recall it. Harlequin Dove says, the armorer loaded the live round. She should have experienced to check that. She's more culpable. Alec can claim ignorance. He can, but he still pointed it where he shouldn't have. Why do you think Baldwin should not go to jail? He's not responsible for accident. He's an actor. That would be nuts. Let's see if anyone votes for that. Okay, he's an actor. He's already paid family, etc. And then, heck no, he should go to jail. Okay, there you go. So you can vote in that. Yeah, I think the producer element is really there. Yeah, Marco, he was just playing around. He's like, what if I pulled the trigger? I mean, why would he pull a trigger during a practice? I guess you feel other actors shouldn't be responsible, so you don't want to set a precedent? We'll give this a moment. I'll answer. So while this poll runs, do you have any questions about this? Do you have any questions about this? And before we move on to the next story. Keith says he didn't pull the trigger. I don't know if I totally believe that. I mean, what's he going to say? Amit says if Baldwin knew, jail, but if he didn't, it's on production. I think it's the poor behavior and the negligence that gets me. If he had been acting responsibly, then I would agree with you. H2 says it's very unfortunate for everyone, but Alec Baldwin's PR team should be prepping him to show remorse. The DA should be after the studio as well to make a stern point. Well, as I said earlier, you might not have been on the stream yet, but there is no studio. This is an independent production, so he is the top of the food chain. Paul Brunel says, have they announced any official safety changes? Not yet. I mean, they're having problems even unionizing a lot of people in Hollywood. Hey, Brian, I'm glad you just joined in. Okay, we'll give this like another moment. Hey, thanks, Ronnie. Marco, I didn't see the police interviews about the accident. Arun says it's crazy that the movie was actually about a grandson who has been sentenced to hang for murder after an accidental shooting. Was that what the movie was about? And then, hey, what does Devon know? That's funny. That's a great handle. Anthony says, is it our job to convict? We should allow the law and trial to process. Oh, well, of course. But I mean, that's the nature of covering trials. You think to yourself, what would you say? I mean, this is a jury trial. So, if you were in New Mexico and you were on this jury? This is going to be like the Johnny Depp case. All right, so hey, Insomnimat. All right, let's see what the poll is. We're going to end the poll, and still 60% of you said he should go to jail because, of course, that's how it went down. But we got some votes here. I think some of you just voted he's an actor. I would hope to be trolling. 29% of you felt he's not responsible for the accident, and then it falls on the armorer. I wonder how gun-friendly a state New Mexico is, because that could really help Alec Baldwin. That could really help him, Then also 5% of you felt that he's already paid the family, etc. So that's very interesting. But it seems that a majority of you feel that it's not down to it's the person who loaded the gun. And I can understand that. Again, I would be with you if he had been responsible with how he handled the gun on the set. But since he wasn't responsible with how he handled the gun on the set, and it was his saving money as the producer that led to hiring an inept armorer, then I feel he's culpable. Stephen D. Clark says, do you think real guns should be banned from movie sets altogether? I do, yes. As I said earlier in the stream, you might have joined just recently. I do believe that. Trisha says, I remember watching a video about how Scarlett Johansson practiced for months for Winter Soldier to use a gun properly and used a real gun on set safely. I mean, I'm glad she took it so seriously. Sentient, NPC, that with the HAL logo. Welcome back. Yeah, the jury, you never know. Who just said that? That's right, Jake. Juries can be fickle. You never know what's going to come out. And you better believe that the lawyers for Alec Baldwin are going to be looking for people who are in favor of guns. Who are going to, I think if you're a big gun person, you're going to feel it's the armorer's fault, because you're going to say they were the one responsible for the gun. They're the one who loaded it. And I think a gun owner is going to think of it through the lens of how they would feel if they were in this situation. And they're going to say, well, the problem is that I can maybe not be as careful as I usually would because I know I'm very careful when I prepare the gun. So maybe I can see that being the case. Hey, Depinder. Let's see here. Welcome back. Joseph Jimenez says Johnny Depp is way more likable than Baldwin. Yeah, Baldwin is, of course, extremely political, and he was trending way before this was even announced today because people knew it was coming, and, the conservatives are, really after him because he's been really after them. It's really bad. But, again, this is a legal situation, and that's my feeling about it. Sebastian says, advice on stress in personal life. I'm a freelancer, and it's hard when you need the money. Sebastian, I'm afraid I don't need anybody right now, but squeaky wheel gets the grease. I wouldn't advise doing it on a live stream. I would advise DMing me a question like that. But, good luck to you. And, it's tough, I mean, people have to make hard decisions when they decide what they want to do. And, that's why sometimes people decide that they want to be employed in a job rather than freelancing because it has a little more job security. Although these days there's very little security, which we're going to talk about with the next story. Hey, Ryan, thank you. Jonesy Cat says, as a New Mexico resident and someone who studied film, yeah, we are always told that the armor is the one and only to go to from the actor and the weapon. Yeah, so we'll see what happens. That could be very, very interesting. All right, so second story of the day. Boop. All right, so mass firings yesterday. It was announced early yesterday that they were having mass firings at Amazon, which is laying off 18,000 people. Stephen Carrier says, what's Alec going to do in the media now? No, Stephen, Alec Baldwin's going to focus. Alec Baldwin's going to focus on his defense. He can. I think the jury and the judge would look very poorly on him doing any promotional interviews right now. Hedgehog says, Grace, Jensen Ackles said his personal gun training and set training on Supernatural led him to always check every single round personally. Well, that's why Jensen Ackles is a prince of a guy. All right, so let's talk about this next story. I appreciate all your comments. That Jensen Ackles comment was great. Tyler, I missed your super chat. Hold on. This should be set a precedence that all actors and crew members handling firearms need training beforehand. Agreed. Super training. And maybe if that had been a better armorer, she would have done that. So she's really in a lot of trouble. All right, so mass firings, that's what we're talking about. Mass firings, 18,000 people at Amazon, 10,000 people at Microsoft. That's very sad just on its own. And these companies say, well, this is only a small fraction of our workforce. And we're giving them amazing, Damani, what happened? Joe Locke posted a photo. I'll have to look at it after the live stream. So anyway, I'm sure he's not in costume. So I'd be like, what? Oh my goodness, I must cover immediately. All right, so anyway, they said they're giving these amazing severance packages, but at the same time, think about just the sheer number of people who are now unemployed. That is just so horrible and scary, and lose their health insurance. Now, not everyone's being fired right away. Some people have 6 months to a year, but they've gotten a heads up that they are going to be fired. So everybody knew it was coming as the tech sector is getting hit hard. Why? Because after the pandemic, there's less online commerce than there was. The pandemic was great for online commerce, but now people are going back outside. They're going out, and online commerce is going down a little bit. And then also, of course, we're in the middle of a recession globally. And Microsoft has said, well, for instance, we've had the slowest growth in a quarter since 2016. But here's the thing. Jeff Bezos, as Anthony just pointed out, is one of the richest men in the world. Microsoft is in the middle of an Activision acquisition for $68.7 billion. That's how much money they have. And these companies, are they lowering the salaries or forgoing the bonuses of any of the upper management? Yet here they're firing so many employees. I think it's really a problem. The lack of oversight in the business sector to me is appalling. I really am upset about it. And I think it just gets worse and worse and worse. But then it was revealed as the day went on, Stephen says, do the layoffs have to do with hitting the debt ceiling? Future planning, that would be dark. I mean, for America? I don't think so. I don't think that's what it is. That's right, Jeff Schiller. Tim Cook did take a pay cut, as Voice Inject also pointed out. And good for him. I think, these people make so much money, I certainly would take a pay cut before I fired so many people. Nicholas Spartans, oh, you're talking about Halo. Yes, so let's talk. So this is what happened. I thought you were like 300 for a moment. So Amit says, as a developer, I need to point out these layoffs are mostly in marketing, at least not development departments. That's very interesting, Amit. Thank you for saying that. I think in Halo, not in Comixology, which we're also going to talk about. Hey, Noah. Welcome back. So it turned out as the day went on that they fired people, not so much in the company, but their first round was in companies they'd acquired. That's like really, really rough, right? So I think this points out the problem with these companies all swallowing each other up because then suddenly the employees of those companies become the more expendable. So Sebastian, I'm trying to be really nice, Sebastian. So what I wanted to say is, how do you do a stress and work-life balance? well, Sebastian, I don't really feel comfortable talking about my own situation. You're not really, Sebastian, this isn't the right venue for this. If you want to ask me some questions, I would suggest you DM me. Hey, Topher the Voyeur, thanks for joining. Tricia says, I think the government should tax these companies for getting rid of their employees and putting robots in their place. Agreed. I think that, I really want, I'm a capitalist, as I've said many times, but I feel there should be responsibility in capitalism. All right, so anyway, Halo did lose a number of employees. And some people, and also Halo's 343 Industries, and then also Bethesda Game Studios. Bethesda Game Studios, also owned by Microsoft. And I saw some people speculating that maybe because the show didn't do very well, the Amazon the Halo show on Paramount Plus. I do wonder if maybe some people said maybe Microsoft's just going to sit on the Halo IP for a while and then try and bring it back in a while. Let's see. But I think it was very disconcerting for Halo fans. Although if what Amit says is true, well then, maybe they feel they can just do the marketing in another division of Microsoft. That might be true. It might be like repetitive and they might feel they already have a marketing division. But do they know how to sell games? Do they have the connections in games? I guess maybe they kept a few employees in their Rolodexes. So let's see. But then I was particularly upset. I saw Comixology trending yesterday, and I was like, what's going on there? And I clicked on it, and I was very, very sad and concerned to hear that it had been essentially gutted by Amazon, and that the first round of their 18,000 layoffs was the majority of the Comixology company. It was already running very poorly, let me tell you. The customer experience, and this shows that they don't seem to care about the customer experience. And Comixology needs employees to scan in or, log in all the comics and put in all the data, the metadata, and just get it all together. And so I have to tell you, a couple of weeks ago, I got, it was an older comic, but it was missing 2 pages at the end of it. It's like literally out of Elf. When they print that children's book that's missing 2 pages, and you're like, what the heck is this? But I think also I've had problems with Comixology once it went over to Amazon, and I've called customer support, which is now Amazon customer support, and I literally got into an argument with the woman working there because she didn't understand what digital comics were. So she didn't understand how they worked. She didn't understand what I was supposed to get as a member of Comixology. And I was really, really annoyed. I was like, I'm paying a monthly fee to get some of these comics for free, and you made me pay for it. And they were like, you can't get comics for free. You want free comics? And I was like, I remember it's part of my subscription. And then also I've gotten very upset that sometimes it says it's a Comixology Unlimited, but then sometimes it says it's a Kindle Unlimited. And I'm like, what the heck, man? You don't even have it under the right banner? That's just really, really upsetting. But here's the thing. Comixology has absolutely, Tricia says Amazon is totally a monopoly. That's right, Tricia, you hit the nail on the head. Who is Comixology's competition? Nobody. Who are you going to go to for digital comics if you don't go to Comixology? And I think that I worry for the future of digital comics, which I think are incredibly important to the industry. Maybe a competitor will launch, although I don't think there's a lot of money in selling digital comics because otherwise competitors would launch. So, maybe Marvel and DC could sell their comics directly. I do believe that they sell them, like TJ Williams said, there's DC Universe, but I don't think you get them right away. I think that you have to wait. You have to be a month behind. And who wants that? I really just like buying my digital comics. I don't have to go anywhere to get them. They're wonderful. I think they're great. I know that some of you like paper comics. I told you my story. The last day I bought hard copies of comics, I had gone to the comic book store. It was so crowded. There were so many people just browsing the comics, so they weren't even buying them. They were just standing there in the store reading them. And so I like to go and get a comic from the back of, I used to get a comic from the back of the stack because I want a freshie. I want a fresh comic. I want that crisp comic that's never been opened. So I pulled one out. And yeah, that's right, Chad. CJ, it had a footprint on it, a giant boot footprint. It wasn't even I wasn't even sure, I had to hold it up in the light. I was like, holy crap, there is a giant boot mark on there. Bartleby the Scrivener, you're back. Wow, and such a generous gift. Oh, let's just take a moment here. Bartleby the Scrivener, because I have to thank for that generosity. That's so kind of you. I'm so glad that you have a good enough time spending this time with me that you would be so generous. But yeah, Bartleby the Scrivener is a fantastic short story I would prefer not to, which you should go read. It's particularly these days, I think it's very, very current. But that's very kind of you, Bartleby. Thank you. And you didn't even have a question. So I really, so that's why I don't like getting print comics. Also, it was very hard to get to the comic book store because there aren't a lot of them. But when I have on Comixology, I can order them at any time. I get a ton of them for free. Ton for free with my monthly subscription. Apple, that's a good idea, Mika. I would love it if Apple sold comics. I'm reading them on my iPad. And so I get them and I can order them like on Sunday. I often order my comic books on Sunday. And then at midnight, I don't even have to wait till store operating hours. At midnight, they deliver the comics to me. And it's just a delight. I love reading comics online. It is phenomenal. And when I go on vacation, I don't have to lug around a bunch of heavy comics. I don't have to store comics. And also, digital comics have ruined the resale value for them. Trisha says, I wish Whole Foods wasn't so good. And I didn't have to give more money to Amazon. I shop at Whole Foods too, Trisha. I shop at Whole Foods too. I can't get good produce anywhere else, I gotta tell you. And also, I found out there's a horrible chemical. Side note, we're done with this story, but you guys can ask me questions in a moment. But that's funny, Lisa. I do go on vacation sometimes. Not during the pandemic, though. So it's been a while. So anyway, there is some kind of chemical in detergent that I think that the government, at least in New York, is trying to maybe get rid of. I used to use Tide Free and Clear, which has just a smidge of this chemical in it. But 7th generation laundry free and clear pods have 0. And so I was actually in Whole Foods yesterday, and because I didn't want to order them online. I don't like getting packages. So I like to either get stuff digitally or I like to go to the store. So I went there and they had it. They had a bunch of them. I was so happy. So I had a good time in there. They have very good prepared food sections. I like Whole Foods. I got to tell you, my no sugar stuff's going well. I'm very proud of myself. Yesterday, I didn't eat any sugar whatsoever. I'm like, woohoo, I'm doing it. Hey, Joseph. All right, so does anyone have any questions about this story before we get on to the BAFTAs? Master Word says, Nightwing's been incredible lately. I actually don't love Nightwing. I got to tell you, the artwork is amazing. That's for sure. Lisa says, I have to shop Walmart because it's the only thing close to me in my small town. I got to tell you, there's no Walmart in New York City. But when I'm in New Jersey, I don't think there's a Walmart even in New Jersey. But I go to Target. Love Target. Although last time I drove into the Target parking lot, some woman was hanging out a window yelling at another car. And I was like, it's crazy over here, man. Let's see here. I have been reading Immortal X-Men. I think, again, medium. I've been to Trader Joe's. Maybe I should go to more Trader Joe's. Let's see here. I watched the Edgar Wright McDonald's commercial, but what's this other McDonald's commercial? I'll have to look it up. AJ Jones says, I think Amazon is folding Comixology into Kindle and is releasing new Kindles better suited for comics. That might be true, AJ. That would be interesting. That's adorable. Is that like from Emoji Blitz? You look great. But that would make me a little bit, I'd be nervous about that because I don't want to pay for Kindle access because I don't want to read, I don't want any books. Although I have to tell you, hold on. It will be okay, says Whole Foods customer service has gone down, but the sweet potatoes are delicious. Yep. Okay, I do feel very bad. I've heard horrible stories about how the employees are treated at Whole Foods, and that makes me sad. All right, I decided I might try and read more books, interestingly enough. I'm having such a good time reading the David Sedaris book. That's phenomenal. And I kind of like not having the glare of a digital device, and so I might get into books. There was a very nice bookstore that opened near me that I thought was very nice, and I was like, I kind of like being in here. Maybe I'll go back to reading. I have to only read short stuff, though, because I can't put it down. It's like a show. I have to finish it. It's very hard for me to stop once I've started something. Thanks, Captain Marvel. I will look at that picture as soon as we're done here. I have an iPad. I have a delightful iPad that I love. All right, so let's go on to the last story of the day. We're going to go over the BAFTAs, the BAFTA Awards. I got all the nominations for us to go over. All right, hold on. Boom, baby. And then we can do Ask Me Anything. All right, so if there's anything going on with the Agatha stuff, we'll cover it afterwards. I'll talk, if there's anything really going on, I'll do a video. All right, Tanner says, do you think the fired employees will form a new company? No, that takes capital, and you have to have a deal with the comic book companies. It's tough. All right, yeah, that's right. BAFTA boop, Lloyd, BAFTA boop. All right, so the BAFTA Awards nominations were announced this morning. This is basically the British Academy Awards. And it just kind of goes to show how wide open it is this year. Actually, in the forefront was All Quiet on the Western Front. Hey, Martin Anderson. All Quiet on the Western Front out of Germany got the most nominations with 14, including picture, director, and screenplay, and even a Best Supporting Actor nod. And I watched this movie. I thought it was medium. I thought that it was not as good as the book or the original movie. But, I guess, I don't know. I thought, Mika, you think it's as good as 1917? I thought 1917 was better. I mean, I've seen a lot of movies at this point. Steven, I agree with Steven. It was impressive, but very repetitive. Like at a certain point, I was like, I know war is hell. Like, what's the point of this movie? Mike Duncan says, Grace, I'm disappointed in you. The story you told of how Brandon Lee died. Mike Duncan, are you sure? I have to put a pin in that. But I'm glad you cared enough about it to do a super chat. All right, so anyway, then behind that, Banshees of Inisherin and Everything Everywhere All at Once each got 10 nominations. So those are the three most nominated films. By the way, I think 1917, if you're thinking of a World War I movie to watch, I think 1917 is far superior, just to be honest with you. I just think it's a much better movie. That's right, Jorge. No Fablemans. There's a little Fablemans, but not a lot. All right, so I got a slideshow here. Here we go. Woo! Okay, visuals. All right, so the full list of the BAFTA. I don't have everything here. We're not going to go over all the tiny categories, but I got the big ones. So best film is All Quiet on the Western Front, Banshees of Inisherin, Elvis. Elvis is getting a lot of love. Everything Everywhere All at Once, and Tar. Isn't that interesting? No Avatar, no Top Gun Maverick. That's very interesting to me. By the way, the Oscar nominations are on Tuesday. Then Outstanding British Film. Okay, so the BAFTAs have special categories just for things coming out of England. They have After Sun, The Banshees of Inisherin, Brian and Charles. I never even heard of that. Maybe I have actually. Empire of Light, Good Luck to You, Leo Grand, Living, Roald Dahl's Matilda the Musical from Netflix, See How They Run, The Swimmers, and The Wonder. I think I think Banshees of Inisherin will probably win for sure. So we'll see that. All right, next one. Leading actress, Cate Blanchett, Viola Davis, Danielle Deadwyler, Ana de Armas. People also feel Ana de Armas. Hey, thank you, Overcooked Egg. I like your Puss in Boots picture. Ana de Armas, people feel she's going to get an Oscar nom too. I'm amazed how much she's gotten off of Blonde, considering and what poor taste it was in. Emma Thompson for Good Luck for You, Leo Grand. And then Michelle Yeoh for Everything Everywhere All at Once. I'm going to be so upset if Michelle Yeoh doesn't win this. It's going to be really bad. I'm going to be really upset. All right, leading actor. Let's see what happens. I think the SAG Awards will be the most indicative of what's going to happen with the Oscars because there's such a big voting block in the Oscars. Okay, leading actor. Austin Butler for Elvis, Colin Farrell for The Banshees of Inisherin, Brendan Fraser for The Whale, Daryl McCormick for Good Luck to You, Leo Grand, Paul Mescal for After Sun, and Bill Nye for Living. It's between Colin Farrell and Brendan Fraser, and I think it's a toss-up at this point. I didn't like Brendan Fraser's Critics' Choice speech. I felt it seemed a little calculated to me. I'm like, when does he start wearing glasses? You know, he had like his auteur. I mean, they looked a lot like my glasses, so I'm one to talk, but they looked like they were his auteur glasses. He's like, I'm a serious artist. I'm not on Doom Patrol. What are you talking about? So anyway, I'd like to see Colin Farrell get it, like Haunted Autumn. But, we'll see. We'll see what happens. But it's between those two. I think the SAG Awards will dictate who's going to win the Oscar. Then for supporting actress, Angela Bassett. Woohoo! Hong Chow for The Whale, Carrie Condon for The Banshees of Inisherin, Dolly DeLeon for Triangle of Sadness, who I believe, isn't that the actress who passed away? Jamie Lee Curtis for Everything Everywhere All at Once. Oh, no Stephanie Sue. Steven, I haven't seen Living. The trailer looks pretty bad to me. And then I'm like, he sings? I don't want to watch this. Then Carey Mulligan for She Said. Isn't that nice? Although I think it's, it sucks for Stephanie Hsu, but hopefully, I think she's getting a lot of work off the movie, so that's good. Angela Bassett. Angela Bassett's been sweeping. She's winning everything. She deserves to. I mean, she gives 2 incredible speeches in that movie. Then for supporting actor, Brendan Gleeson for The Banshees of Inisherin, Barry Keoghan for The Banshees of Inisherin, Ke Huy Quan for Everything Everywhere All at Once, he's winning, Eddie Redmayne for The Good Nurse, Albert Schwash for All Quiet on the Western Front. He was pretty good in that. And then Michael Ward for Empire of Light. It's going to be Ke Huy Quan. Deservedly so. I think the supporting people are locked. I'm glad you liked Living, Max Rollo. That's good to know. But yeah, I think the best supporting actors are locked. It's done. All right. And if it's not done, it would be extremely cruel to them. All right. Then, animated film. Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio. By the way, there is an exhibit for that. I'm going to go to that. There's an exhibit at the MoMA about Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio. Like all the behind-the-scenes stuff and all the puppet work. That's so cool. All right, so anyway, Marcel the Shell with Shoes On. Puss in Boots, The Last Wish. Woohoo! And Turning Red. Only 4 nominated, interestingly enough. It's going to be Pinocchio. Although, I would prefer it be Puss in Boots or Marcel the Shell with Shoes On. Then director, Edward Berger for All Quiet on the Western Front. That's a very big deal. The Banshees of Inisherin for Martin McDonagh. Decision to Leave with Park Chan-wook. Everything Everywhere All at Once with the Daniels. Tar for Todd Field. And then Gina Prince Blythewood for The Woman King. I'm so glad that there's a female director in there. And in my opinion, they chose the right one. Very happy about that. She did a phenomenal job directing that movie. And I'm, there's not only was there not Steven Spielberg here, but there's no Joseph Kosinski for Top Gun Maverick, and no Super Chat not working. Sorry about that. YouTube. All right, so anyway, was it not working before? Hey, Matthew, welcome back. That's weird. Hopefully I don't know how I could fix that. I think I have it on. Yeah. Oh, there we go. That's very nice of you to test. Bartleby, you already gave such a big amount. That's so kind of you. Bartleby, I love that you're here, Bartleby, but just so quiet. That makes me feel nice, actually. It's very Bartleby. It's very Bartleby of you. Let's see here. It says, Dan says, what do you think that Angela Bassett's performance is resonating with everyone? I loved her performance, but just curious from a professional POV. I think that it's her time. I think, it's been a while since she's gotten anything and she deserves it. And I think that she is incredible in the movie. I mean, she just gives you chills. And it's a kind of speech you don't usually see women give in both cases. And she just did a wonderful job. All right, then. Original screenplay, Banshees of Inisherin, Everything Everywhere All at Once, The Fabelmans, there's The Fabelmans, Tar, and then Triangle of Sadness. I think probably Banshees will get this as well. But we'll see. It could be maybe Everything Everywhere All at Once. It could be Fabelmans to throw Steven Spielberg a bone. All right, Steven, here you go. And then adapted screenplay, All Quiet on the Western Front. If that wins, that would be nuts because it takes so little from the book. Living, The Quiet Girl, She Said. I would love to see She Said win, quite frankly. And The Whale. I think She Said should win. I mean, they handled a very different subject matter quite well. And then, hold on. Outstanding debut by a British writer, director, or producer. What a crazy category this is. What is this, the Streamies? Hey, Reflection. All right, so you've got After Sun with writer-director Charlotte Wells. Blue Jean for writer-director Georgia Oakley and Celine Sifra as the producer. Electric Malady with Marie Lydon as director. A lot of women in this category. A lot of women. Good Luck to You, Leo Grand by Katie Brand, the writer. And then Rebellion, Maya, how weird would it be to be a part of this that picture? And the director's like, well, I didn't get nominated even though I did a good job on it, but you did because you're new? I mean, that's weird. And then Rebellion with Maya Kenworthy is the director. It's all women. That's weird. I would prefer that women be competing in the bigger categories, quite frankly. And that's a little bit, I mean, it's great to see the representation and the recognition, but, I don't like when any category goes all in one direction, to be honest with you. Because then you're like, maybe some guys have some good new up-and-coming stuff. All right, now, film not in the English language. All Quiet on the Western Front, Argentina 1985, Corsage, Decision to Leave, and The Quiet Girl. And then I think we have one more. Oh, nope, that's everything. All right. All right, so it's time for Ask Me Anything. It's 1:23. You can ask me anything you'd like until 1:33. Although I usually go a little over because I just like talking to you so much. I did not see Tar. Did they just announce Tron 3 with Jared Leto? That's nuts. That's so stupid. I can't believe that they're doing that. Jared Leto is toxic at this point. Lewis Cook says, I wonder if Michelle Williams is starting to regret going to lead actress over supporting. She's still not going to beat Angela Bassett, though. As told by Alex, I told you guys yesterday that I found out the Ghost had been removed from the casting breakdown, which is a little weird, but it doesn't necessarily mean that that she's been removed from the film. Damani says, Grace, do you like Titans being the main DC team in the comics? Well, let me see who the creative team is. They've certainly messed up the Justice League. It's at the point where I don't even want to see them anymore. But, with the Titans, let's see. Again, it would be crucial to me how they did the artwork. I do think it's nice that they have seemed to have switched Starfire over to, basically a character of color. She's orange. But, they're drawing her that way, I think, after on a Diop, on a Jope, that's how you pronounce it. On a Jope, her portrayal on Titans. And I think that's a nice change. LJ916 says, hey Grace, I've been sub for years, but I'm curious about doing live streams with the community. Has changed how you approach doing you than now compared to just having to read comments from regular posted videos. I like the interaction. I think it's a lot of fun. And I think this is a great new dimension to add to the channel. And I'm glad that so many of you seem to agree. It took me a while to understand live streams, but I think I'm getting them, and I'm really enjoying it. Ron iReady says, for my family is gone speech from Black Panther, Angela Bassett deserves all the awards and praise. I agree. Also her speech at the UN, which I think is actually just as good. Marco DeVecchi says, how important do you think music scores are for the success of for comic book movies? I think DCU needs strong music themes that were lacking before. That's an interesting question. I would agree with that. I think music is very crucial. But I would counter that Marvel, I can't tell you any Marvel music scores. I can't pick any of them out. Just the Marvel intro. Jay Schrumpelstiltskin says, Garrett Clayton spoke about being an LGBT actor and how a production only cares about your worth in foreign sales. How might Marvel handle this with Wiccan? Well, he's going to be on a TV show. And I think, Multiverse of Madness was still very popular. I think that's kind of start to go away. And I think, it depends, whether or not you're the lead or not, how it's handled, how popular the character is. Let's see. But I think, they got to do Wiccan. They got to do Wiccan. And just roll the dice. Whelm says, are you aware of the allegations of gross misconduct by Percy Hines White, Xavier from Wednesday? Do you think Netflix will drop him? Oh, I have not. I'll have to look into that. But they could. But he doesn't have to come back to school. Devin Bennett says, hey, I don't think anybody's watching that show for him. Devin Bennett says, hey, Grace, do you think James Gunn will recast Batman or leave Batman to Matt Reeves? My guess is he will just leave it alone and not cast it but not say anything, and then hope that maybe he and Matt Reeves will be able to come together at some point down the road. But let's see. He said he was going to do Batman stuff, but, he's not beholden to a tweet, so let's just see what he decides to do. Thank you, Jay. Let's see here. Hey, Starry. Let's see. Oh, I guess I do know the Avengers theme, Cosmic. That's true. Jesse says, hey, Grace, just want to say I love your content. I've been a BTT fan for a while, now deciding to become part of the family. Welcome to the party. Keep doing the great work. Thank you. Media Lover says, do you think the Titanic re-release will have premium screens? Oh, that's right. When does that re-release? I bet maybe it does. I'm trying to see Avatar one more time, and it's on the premium screens this weekend, and I thought it might be on next weekend too, but now you're making me scared that Titanic's going to take it next weekend, and I've got to get in there. Let's see here. Steven says, can I get a Scream 6 breakdown? I'm afraid that the movie is not popular enough for me to do a trailer breakdown, Steven, but I do appreciate you asking. I'm glad to see so many of you like the live streams. That makes me feel really nice. Oh, February 10th is when it releases. Excellent. I don't know. Maybe it'll split the... let's see how Knock at the Cabin does. That's one weekend after Knock at the Cabin. So you have to see how Knock at the Cabin does first. And if it's doing really well, I think they're going to be reluctant to kick it off for an old movie. Maybe there'll be one screening a day or something. Whelm says, I agree about music. I doubt Gal's Wonder Woman would have been as popular without her amazing theme. Her theme was amazing. She was great. It was great. It's too bad it just went so poorly. Steven says, any news about the Marvels? I heard the trailer from D23 is amazing. So good that people are wondering why Marvel hasn't released it. So they'll probably release it with Ant-Man Quantumania. So hearing such good things about it, I'm excited to see it. Devin says, any tea on the end credit scene for Quantumania? Not yet. I don't want to talk about it, but I'm getting excited. Press will be seeing it soonish. Jay says, messed up my last super chat. Is there any validity to the rumor that Anna Paquin will be back as Rogue in Deadpool 3? I have not heard about that rumor, but I think that, as I told you before, a lot of Fox X-Men will be coming back not only in Deadpool 3, but in Secret Wars. Michael McKenna says, shout out to the Grace and the BTT community. Enjoyed the BTT merch and getting feedback on my silly Twitter cartoons. Opened an Etsy shop. You guys are some of the folks who inspired me. Oh, that's great. That's a great next step for you. Congratulations. H. Tiz says, how long did it take to bring Superbia into print? Would you like for it to be a series in Netflix or Hulu? Thank you for doing this for so many years. Oh, it's my pleasure. Superbia, you sign the best deal you can at the time. And I don't have, I have ownership of it, partial ownership, but I don't have the rights to shop it around myself. So it's totally up to Boom Studios, whatever happens to that. But how long did it take to print? It didn't take that long, It took me a long time to come up with an idea that got picked up. That's the magic special sauce. If you're pitching something, you need to pitch something that has a really good log line. It can be a great story, but if it doesn't seem like it can be sold, nobody's going to be interested in it. So I had pitched for a while. I've been going to comic book conventions for a while, talking to all the editors-in-chiefs, and they had liked my work and they liked my ideas, but nothing was ever happening. But with this one, with the I pitched it as Real Housewives of Superheroes. And so that got picked up right away, and it went to print right away because people just felt good about the idea. So that's how that came about. Hey, Jason Cameron, think Mando season 4 will lead into a film with Thrawn? I think Thrawn's going to be in Ahsoka. That's the rumor. Gus Babington says, best theater in Pittsburgh is the Waterfront Dolby. I've been there. I've been to that. I've been to the Waterfront. A lot of good eating places around there. And last I recall, a Dave & Buster's. Devin Henderson says, also, thank you for being so cautious with spoilers. We appreciate it. I try. Thank you. I try to walk that fine line. I know you want the tea, but I know you also don't want to have things totally ruined for you. Danny, Shrek 5 is being made. I heard Shrek 5 is written. So I hope they don't use the same animation style, because that did not go well for Puss in Boots. Although I think it's rallied. Alex gifted 20 memberships. Wow, that is so generous of you. Thank you. Ryan says, I would be thrilled if we got Famke Janssen as Jean Grey one last time. Agreed. What do I think the chances of that are? I think high. Michael Brandy says, hey, Grace, I reside in Florida, but went home to Buffalo to New York for Christmas. Was stuck for days due to the storm. Your vids kept me and the family sane. Oh, it's my pleasure. That's so nice. I love your picture. That is a great photo. I can see your teeth from here, Michael. You got a great smile. That's awesome. I'm glad you guys were safe in the snow, and I'm glad I could keep you company. Say hi to your family for me. Juan says, hi, this will be my last month as a member for a while. Hold on, Juan. Because I'm going to flight school and won't have a job. Thanks for everything and our mutual love for Taylor Swift. Of course, Juan. I hope to see you when you're done. Please keep me updated on Twitter. But I'm so happy for you, and I think flight school is a very exciting adventure to go on. That's fantastic. Oh, that's great. Good for you. Let's see here. And then Bison. Hi, Grace. You've mentioned that you will not cover Love Victor Season 3. I'm wondering what your thoughts are on the final season. I got to tell you, I love your long streams. I find it the perfect companion for a long drive. Thank you. I'm glad. I love to hear the way you guys listen to the live streams. I gotta tell you, Love Victor Season 3 came out right after Heartstopper, and Heartstopper just, to me, felt more authentic, and I just liked it better, and I just kind of moved over to Heartstopper. I probably will cover, I don't know, I'm I will cover Heartstopper. I'll review it and probably do a spoiler review. But it's not like one of those shows where you do like a weekly breakdown. Also, I think it's a binge show, right? Yeah, it's a binge show on Netflix. So, but I will review Heartstopper though. I'm going to move over to Heartstopper. Will says, how many films are in your digital cloud overall library? Not that many, because I got to tell you, they're all at your fingertips with streaming services these days. So I just know I can get them at any time. Chico, I will, of course, be doing very intense Little Mermaid coverage. Look at all these people getting gifted a membership. Love it. Oh, Dylan, I'm glad the end of Love, Victor was very touching. That's nice. I wanted Victor to be happy. Abel says, what are your top 2 X-Men movies? X2 and probably X-Men Days of Future Past. Voice Inject says, do you have a favorite roller coaster? You know, I don't really like roller coasters anymore, to be honest with you. But I guess I like Thunder Mountain Railroad. I like that one. I'm excited to ride Tron. I hope they don't stick Jared Leto all over it. Trisha, the Ant-Man embargo lifts on the Tuesday before release, on Valentine's Day. I remember I was like, that's crazy. The review embargo lifts on Valentine's Day at noon. Bartleby, oh my gosh, Bartleby. I'm not a good viewer because I haven't been subbed for that long, and I feel bad that I haven't supported you as much as I should have, given how much I've watched you over the many, many years. All these donations pale in comparison to my appreciation. That's just very kind, Bartleby. That's very kind. You know, consider us even. You know, I mean, I feel the love, Bartleby. That was just really, really kind of you. Thank you so much. And, you know, leave a comment here or there, even on the videos. With the video, for the first 24 hours or so, I'm looking at all the comments. And I heart a lot of them and I respond to some of them. So that's a great, and also I'm very active on Twitter. So that's just very kind of you. That's very, very kind. You're all great members. You're all wonderful. You're all great. I just love you guys so much. I can't tell you. All right, let's do shout outs. Natalia, I do not buy physical media. I don't even own a Blu-ray player, to be honest with you. But I've been thinking of getting one because I get screeners, and a lot of them are Blu-rays. And I'm like, I can't even play this. So maybe I'll buy one. Hassan says, Grace, what hair salon do you go to? I appreciate that. Because of the pandemic, I have to do my own hair. So I'm glad that you think I'm doing a good job. I'm always very nervous about it. Anthony says, are the BAFTAs a big deal for American actors? They are, because it helps, you know, it creates momentum for you to win, like at the Oscars, basically. So, and also, who doesn't want a BAFTA on their mantle, you know, and it looks great on your resume. So Celine is at home cooking for family. Brett is prepping puppets for Big Brothers Big Sisters. Oh, that sounds like a good show. Dan Blaster says, gotta get a console, Grace, Blu-ray and gaming machine in one. I don't know if I have time for the gaming. Thank you, Louie. I'll check out that IGN list of Blu-ray players. Heather says, I am waiting in a parking lot watching. My elderly neighbor needed a driver for his dental appointment. Wow, Heather. Heather, you're a kind person. And especially, you know, you've been through so much. That's very kind of you, Heather. Let's see here. Jose is getting a breakfast burrito. Steven's doing lots of laundry. Danny says, playing video games while watching your live stream. 80s Model says, Grace, have you seen the report saying that Thunderbolts is actually Black Widow 2? I told you it was Black Widow 2. I remember you saying exactly that much when the roster came out. Thanks for remembering, 80s Model. It gets a little frustrating when, you know, I'm on top of stories before anyone else. And then sometimes people it's fine. I understand. That's why I told you scooping is really for, you know, there's not a lot of reward for scooping. But it's fun. When I had tea the other night, that was good times. I had a lot of tea the other night. I really had fun. Hey, Carl Whiteman. Thank you, 80s Model. And 80s Model, by the way, is also a very generous member of the community. Let's see here. Comic Boom says, I'm drafting a brief. You are a pleasant distraction. My pleasure. Topher the Voyeur says, my birthday is on Sunday, so I gifted myself a membership. Oh, I love that. I've been watching since 2015, and it's nice to be able to finally interact. Topher, I'm so glad I saw your note. Happy birthday, by the way. Sunday's a big day, you know, another Last of Us episode, movie math. And I think it makes me feel so nice that you wanted to buy a gift for yourself and you decided to make that a membership. And I'm looking forward to interacting with you on the live streams. AJ Jones says, I'm making butter swim biscuits for the first time. That sounds very delicious. Let's see here. Hey, Anthony, always good to see you. Arun says, Grace, do you set your filter words for chat, or does YouTube decide those? I suspect that's what prevented my super chat. Interesting question, Arun. I have filtering on, automatic filtering, but I have some words that are filtered on my channel. So if you have a question, Arun, try to DM me on Twitter, and that's another way. Or leave it as a comment down below. I'll come back and check. Randolph says, Randolph G, that's his real name. I asked him. Randolph G says, go 49ers this Sunday. I've started to watch football a little bit, and I got to tell you, I'm enjoying myself. Sarah says this is the best community on YouTube. That makes me feel so nice. And it should make all of you feel very nice, because we couldn't be a great community without all of you. Dancing Dog 60 says, getting ready to head down to the lunchroom now that the live stream is over. Chad said, cut out of work early. Nothing like playing hooky. Was in Yorktown today, Grace, and listened to the stream the whole way home. Yay! I sure love it when you're supposed to be somewhere else and then you just get to be free. It's so fun. Ben says, I got gifted a membership. Oh, that's great. Newswriter 22 says, just purchased my Quantumania tickets for opening night. Really looking forward to it. I'm excited too. Oh, Tanya gifted 5 memberships. Oh, Rashad just got out of work at the spa. Official Liam G says, I was gifted a membership as well. Been watching you since I was 13 and I'm now 22. That's awesome. That is very cool. That makes me feel very nice. Let's see here. I love you guys too. Dancing Dog 60 cheers on football. Let's see here. Today is the day of gifting, Devon, for sure. Twice as Bright says, at work celebrating signing my second ever deal. Oh, that's wonderful. Oh, congratulations. That's phenomenal, phenomenal news. And then Dahlin is going to Disney World for her birthday. Oh, Dahlin, I wish I was going with you. I'm so excited. I'm trying to go to Disney World this year. Joseph says, no channel is like yours, the best YouTuber out there. Thank you. That really just means so much that you guys feel that way. Cosmic says, heading to San Diego, still planning what I want to do. What's your favorite thing to do in San Diego? Well, I'm only there for Comic-Con. I love hanging out along the water. You should definitely try to eat at one of the restaurants there. There's I haven't been there in so long, but there was a sea place that was sea themed and it was a market and you could eat on the water. I don't know if that's even still there. I loved that. And then I always felt bad that I never went to the zoo. So you should really go to the zoo. I'm glad I got your name right, Devon. Alex Legate says, January 19th, BTT sub Christmas in January. That's cool. Bradley Hutchinson says, is Banshees made by the UK? It may anger some Irish people be considering a British film, but the cast being Irish. Well, I think it's part of the same, the UK region. And I think that, I think it would give them great joy to win the award. And in your face, British, UK. Jojo Bell is also planning a Disney World trip. It's less than a month away. That's a great time to go. It shouldn't be too crowded then. That's great. For both of you, this is a really good time to go. I'm also trying to go during a non-crowded time. Arun says, I was going to say that I think it's interesting that 3 likely acting Oscars this year are MCU adjacent. Well, one of them is actually from the MCU. That's incredible. Thanks, Danny. Matt says, did I miss the stream? Yeah, we just got here. No, we didn't talk about Velma. I think it's funny that Velma insulted everyone. I thought that was pretty funny. All right, I better get going. I'm going to go see if there's anything to this Joe Locks thing or it's just a nice photo. But thank you for joining me today. I had an absolutely lovely time talking to you, as always. This should be it for live streams this week, unless something amazing happens tomorrow, and I think it's better as a live stream than a video. But anyway, we're off for the day. Thank you so much, and I look forward to talking to you guys soon, okay? All right,